All right, guys, we are going to go ahead and continue with media availabilities today. We are now joined by driver of the number 23 Toyota with 2311 Racing, Bubba Wallace. I will go ahead and open up the floor to questions. All right, we'll head over there to Reed. And then
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire. With qualifying canceled, how do you think that affects you as one of the guys who has to win to get in?
Doesn't affect us at all, right? You make up your own choices at Speedway racing. So if you qualify on the pole, you want to drop back and try to avoid wrecks, then you can do that. We're already at the back, but our philosophy is just see what our car has the first couple of laps of the race, and if we got a car good enough competing, then we'll try to stay up front. If not, if we get shuffled, then just fall in place wherever we end up and make sure we're there for the last couple of laps. So. I think my mother says it every race. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. So.
all right, let's go over here to Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, KickTheTires.net. With Kurt's news coming out yesterday, what's the sentiment around the shop, and conversations you guys have had, and what kind of spirits is he in right now?
Yeah, the sentiment is the sentiment around the shop is. I'm obviously everybody's super bummed for Kurt. Just the way that the whole deal's kind of gone down, and it's just a wild deal for him. And so I know from him being one of the OG guys, right? He's been around for a really long time, and he's seen a lot of things throughout this sport and been able to do a lot of things for this sport. And so to see him sit on the sidelines in this way is definitely not how any of us thought of it, especially him. And so, I haven't reached out to him this week because it's just the timing doesn't feel right. Just the way that it goes about. So, every week I've told him, hey man, we're racing for you, and this is important for us to get you back healthy. And so I think that's what we got to focus on, is making sure he gets back to a good recovery state, and the whole process is great for him to get him back. And so it's just a crazy deal, man.
All right, we'll go over to Holly.
Hi, Bubba. Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. When you come in here, having come so close to winning here multiple times, is this a place where you come in feeling like, I got this, I'm this close, I could do it? Or are you thinking more about the disappointment of not coming? But do you feel like if you had to go to a place to get that win, that this is where you want to come?
Yeah, like maybe 5 years ago, I would be like, oh man, we deserve a win here. But 5 years to where I'm at now, it's like you don't deserve anything, right? You have to go out and earn it. And no matter if you finish second, how many times we've done it, it's still, we could blow up lap one. You don't know. We could something break lap one. We could wreck out lap one, right? You don't know. And so, for us, it's just not get ahead of ourselves. Let's focus on what we need to do. Bummed that we didn't qualify because the last Speedway race we had a lot of speed. All Toyotas did, so that was really fun to be a part of. But it's just making sure you're there for the last. We always say 5 laps, but hell, we wreck 10 times within 5 laps. So make sure you're there for the last 2 laps, right? and setting yourself up for being one of the first 4 cars. So that's what we need to focus on. Let's get up to that point. Let's get through the first stage, check that box. Get through the second stage, let's check that box. And then, your boxes get smaller, the job gets a little tougher because, you have to last that whole last stage to get to where you're at. And then you focus on like, okay, now it's time to win. But there's just so much meat left on the bone before that. So for me, it's another race. You can't get overzealous with it because it just humbles you so fast, right? You can be cocky or arrogant or hungry coming into it, but the sport has a way of busting your ass pretty quick.
All right, we're going to go to Jordan and then Jeff.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. Obviously, luck is a factor here. We know that. But
Hey, sorry, didn't I tell you you'd find out when I had my contract deal when everybody else found out? Yeah, see? Stop trying to rush questions.
All good. I may have found it before then.
Probably. Adam Stern, probably.
No, definitely not. Luck is obviously a factor here. We know that to some degree. But if you look at the guys, there's a consistent group of drivers who run well in these races and put themselves in position time and time again. You are one of them. Your stats indicate that. What is it about you? What are you doing to put yourself in a position where you can continue to capitalize and run it front and put yourself into win races?
I reckon. I mean, that's a big part of it, right? We think, I think Denny said he thinks this race is going to be caution filled. And I don't know what to expect. That's like one of the questions that I hate getting. Is like, what do you expect this race to be like? Oh, no, we're going to find out. Like, your guess is as good as mine. But we had the speed, and it's a big mental game. It's a big chess game. We talk about that. You make one move. You're trying to make a move that sets you up for 3 moves ahead. Does that make sense? And at first, I didn't really realize that. I was like, oh, man, our car has decent speed. Let's just try to get up through the field, and no one will work with you. And so we always made a joke. It was like, there's some encrypted code on the back of my car that pisses people off, and they just, pull away. And we never knew what that was. And then you realize it's like, get the finishes first. Finish these races. Get the finishes that you deserve or that you've earned. And you start to get a little bit of credit to your name, and they see like, okay, hey, the 23 car is pretty quick, and you see you're one of the favorites to win, so that kind of gives you some more cars in the field to play with. What does that attribute to? Racing smart, racing hard, making good calls on top of the roof for Freddie, keeping us in the game with strategy for Booty. Just a lot of key components that go into it, but luck has a lot to do with that. I mean, look at the Daytona race last year here. I was 13th when that wreck happened and ended up 3rd. But we got paid for 2nd because of some more luck because the other guy got DQ'd. So it's like, I was 13th though. Like no shot of winning. And we come out 3rd. So just close your eyes and pray sometimes. I don't know if that answered it, but yeah.
We'll go to Jeff and then Kelly.
So many different agendas out there. So do you think that the manufacturers will all stick as tight together as they would like during the Daytona 500? Or do you think some of the OEMs will be like, all right, you guys can just go do your own thing, whatever you need to do?
No, I think it's always a manufacturer's race here, right? I think Toyota is nice. There's only 6 of us. And they're like, hey, work together. It'd be nice. That's it. I've been a part of the other manufacturers, and it's like, hey, if you don't do this, then Monday's going to be hell. And it's like, okay. Are they going to work with me? No, they never do. So, got to work with them, though. But Toyota is like, hey, let's work together and just try to get a Toyota victory lane, and very, very low key about it. But yeah, I think, like I said earlier, our Speedway stuff for all the Toyotas have been really strong, and so that gives us, more. I don't know the right word. More emphasis on just working together and pushing each other. We got 2 Toyotas right now that are trying to get into the playoffs. Martin's in right now, but it's a scenario that if the 23 car wins, it's gonna be tough for him. So that's a good question. I don't know, and I come into these races don't expecting to be working with anybody. It'd be nice, to have that help, but you have to have a realistic expectation. It's all like, hey, yeah, we'll work together until the green flag drops, right? And then it's something else. But race car drivers don't forget that as well, right? So at the end of the day, you race for your team, you race for yourself, you race for your sponsors. But in moments where it's like, hey, the 19 cars maybe falling off the pack, can we go pick them up? Yeah, hell yeah, let's go help out, and hopefully the same is roles reversed is the same way, right? If we're falling off, we might need some help, but when it gets down to last few laps, and it's like, okay, it's every man for themselves, which you can't fault that for anybody.
All right, let's go to Kelly and then Dustin.
KellyCrandallRacer.com. Bubba, I imagine with the old car, everyone had gotten a sense of what you could do with it in the draft, where you can push, where you're not supposed to push, so on and so forth. Where are you at with understanding next gen in that regard? How comfortable are you with it in the draft, or how has it changed super speedway racing?
Yeah, it's different, right? There's really no third lane that gets formed, and so it's like a big parachute when you kind of pull out by yourself and try to form that third lane. So you definitely have to have a lot more help than previous years' cars. Previous years, like I've drove since the 2000s. Last year's car for me, but it's definitely a just a little bit slower, and things kind of happen. You kind of manage it, but you would think with the more time that you have to focus on that, you could do something with it. But like I said, when you pull out, it's like a momentum killer. So you really have to plan out your attack a few laps ahead. Like, okay, if I go here, homeboy might not go with me, or they may. Got to time it right. Timing is key with these cars.
All right, let's go over to Dustin, and then we'll head over to Bob.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Bubba, you noted the fewer number of cars that you guys have as a manufacturer. With the news this week of Kurt being out, you trade out a teammate who has won here, very experienced, with a teammate who has one Xfinity start at this track. And you talked earlier just about, learning it, the time it took for you to learn here. How do you help, or what are the expectations for you at a tie because of your situation to get into the playoffs, but with his inexperience? I mean, is it as simple as stick to my rear bumper and follow me wherever, or how does that work? And how do you try to help him through this so he can be more of a benefit to you if you guys are closer together at the end of the race, despite his inexperience at this type of racing?
Yeah, no, I'll say, for the time being, that Ty has filled in for Kurt. He's been doing a great job. Been doing a great job in the car, not overstep. He overstepped his boundaries in practice last weekend. But I just finished up an interview, and I said, you don't know your limits if you don't overstep the boundaries, right? And so for him, we all know, sitting in this room, that he has a crazy amount of talent. But when you get to the cup level, you have to kind of readjust your mindset. You bring all that talent, but be prepared to know that it's still not enough. So you have to learn that. And so for him this weekend, this will be the first time in the pack, and he gets no qualifying to feel how his car is. He just has to go and experience it. So for him, I'll have a good conversation with him because he is a teammate. He is not just a Toyota teammate. He's a 2311 teammate, and for us, our goal is to get the 23 car in the playoffs. And so if he can play a factor in that, then we have to make sure he's prepped for that. And Ty's been great at understanding the process and the task at hand for each and every race. And his commitment, he's said it in our meeting on Monday. He's committed to helping us out. And so for him, I think just giving him the general flavor of how I run my races at Speedway stuff is basically letting the little fish go, catching the big fish later, and not get overworked up and just settle in where you're at. So we'll have those conversations though, but excited to see how he does.
Let's over to Bob.
Bob Hockers, Fox Sports. With Kurt's decision, what is the vibe over there? Is just like, do you feel that, is there any sort of sense of, are people down? Like, are people down and or frustrated and or just, I don't want to say upset, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, and do you feel like, and does that impact your 23 group?
I would say that the atmosphere is, we're all bummed, right? We all hate it for Kurt. Like, we're not in his shoes, so we can't live up to full extent. But just the scenario, like I said earlier, is just I hate it for him, and everybody does. But at the same time, it's like, okay, what Kurt wants us to do is not worry about him and go out and win races and still compete and get Toyota in victory lane, get 2311 back in victory lane, and so we have to do that. And that's my mindset. In the back of my mind, we're thinking about Kurt, but we have to go out and still compete. And like I said, I'll continue racing for Kurt until he gets back full and healthy.
All right, that is all the time we have. Thank you for joining us, Bubba. Good luck this weekend.
Cool, thanks.